I'm sure a lot of people are going to go through this video and just tear it apart, and I hope you do, but this is like off the top of my head, the way that I see it.
So my question is, in Star Wars, okay, when I watched the first 3, which was 4, 5, 6, Emperor Palpatine is the leader of this empire. The empire has all the stormtroopers, they're the bad guys, they're basically controlling the world, and then you have the rebels who rebel against them. Now, the Clone Wars, you have Yoda with the stormtroopers, and they're fighting these robots, led by the dark side. Now, the dark side becomes the Empire, but what's the hell's going on? Why? What am I missing here?
It is a bit convoluted. There's 2 ways that I can answer that question. There's the way that I wished it would have been answered, and there's the way that it was, which is now considered Star Wars canon. So we'll start with the way that I wished it was. Galactic Empire came after the Republic. So the Republic is a government that was established in an effort to unify everybody together and keep the bad guys out as much as possible. To do that, they piggybacked that on an ancient order of knights who were joined together by a really, really crazy age-old code of, upholding good, the light side. Well, and you have these other people who don't really like that idea all that much for their own reasons, and they kind of go, you know what, like what you're doing, but we got our own way of doing stuff over here. We're called the Separatists. And so you have a bunch of other planets and moons and inhabited worlds in this galaxy that don't necessarily waltz with everybody else's wushu. They don't want to drink the Republic's Kool-Aid, and maybe a lot of them. The reason why is because the Republic's backed by the Jedi, and there's a lot of Separatists who don't like Jedi for whatever reason, and a lot of them have a pretty good reason to not like them. Now you start to get into the conflict. So there's the Separatists versus the Republic. And this is where Palpatine comes in. Palpatine is, some people just want to watch the galaxy burn, And that is a dude who really wants to just blow shit up. His ultimate existence is just basically controlling everything. Ultimate power corrupts absolutely. So he's basically Star Wars Satan. He's the reason a lot of really good characters die. He's the reason that a lot of good characters betray themselves. Dooku is a plant within the Separatists that, of course, Palpatine is manipulating. But he is directly an apprentice to Palpatine, which means that they're fake fighting. In order to fake fight, Palpatine goes, well, we've got to combat these Separatists, and I don't have enough Jedi.
I don't know how much longer I can hold off the vote, my friends. More and more star systems are joining the Separatists.
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
To necessarily, govern and control all of these, because Jedi, you need one of them and they'll take a whole freaking starship down. These guys are dangerous. So you got these super badasses over here, but then you also have these other super badasses over here. And Palpatine ascends to the top of this stack of politics. It didn't all completely go according to plan, but he was basically having plan G, plan R, because stuff would fall through constantly. So once in a while, something wouldn't go according to plan, and he'd be like, gosh, oh, anyway, oh, good to see you. He'd be flipping out in his office, and then ding dong, ooh, how is everyone doing? Yes, and he'd have to. But, and then the hood goes up, completely different person. Hood goes down, hello, It's like Mrs. Doubtfire, He convinces a whole bunch of people to think it's a good idea to create an army. And it's with this cloning technology that he's able to just, all of a sudden, in a very short amount of time, crap an army. And one that he is indirectly in control of. Because all the Jedi think he's a good guy, but it turns out he's like one of the biggest bad dudes of all time, right? So he's constantly playing the forces against each other to try to ensure that when Order 66 goes down, the Republic falls. And in an effort to preserve that Republic, he just annexes everybody into this new galactic empire. After he proves that the Jedi betrayed the Republic and all this other stuff, and Order 66 hunts them all down, so that not only is his worst enemy wiped out, he's now become in charge of the most powerful military force that the galaxy had ever seen, next to like the Sith Jedi Wars of the Old Republic. The way that I've at least come to understand it, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other politics, it was just a dude pretending to be another dude, fighting another dude, and getting another dude to fight this other dude and make money off of it. Yeah, it was basically, he's one of the most successful science fiction war profiteers of all time. If you ever get a chance, read Dark Empire. I've got a couple copies of it around. It involves the Clone Emperor, like when he comes back, and which it's interesting because like some of that stuff of the expanded universe, like I don't know, like some of the storylines could still match up. They didn't burn everything like the Jedi books and what was it, the second movie? And Yoda just cracks up. Anyway, he's just losing his mind while they're torching hundreds of thousands of years of fucking history. It's like, what are you doing? Just recently saw a picture of George Lucas holding Baby Yoda, and I about lost my mind, dude. Like, can you imagine creating something like that and then really seeing a legacy, like just like, oh man, this is like the next generation of, so anyway. Like after seeing just that little blip of Luke and Leia fighting in the most recent movie, like movies like Splinter of the Mind's Eye could be possible.
I don't even remember what my question was, bro. How
Well,
would I word that?
I might have gone off on a couple tangents, but I think it was, well, we'll check it. We'll go back.
What would the question be? How would I label this?
I don't know. I think you established it in the very beginning. It was, what was the deal or something like that with the Republic or the Empire? Like, how does all that work? Who are the separatists?
Yeah.
And so I just kind of gave an overview of that political, or the State of the Union of Star Wars.
That was awesome. No, you definitely explained it.
Star Wars State of the Union.